What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Saturday, November 4th, 2023, and I have another emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now, it is 12:40 p.m. Eastern Time here in the United States, and I wanted to give you guys an update on the situation in the Middle East and also in Eastern Europe. So, before I give you guys an update on Israel and the war over there, I want to turn your attention towards Eastern Europe. We have some concerning things going on in the Baltic region. So, what you're looking at here are three Russian military transport planes or military cargo planes going into Kaliningrad this morning. So, here we have two Ilyushin 76 MD 90A planes, and we also have an Antonov 124. Now, the Antonov 124 is a special cargo plane that has been used by the Russian military for heavy lift operations. It was actually used during the Iraq and Afghanistan wars when Putin offered to help the United States fight against Al Qaeda. Russia was using these planes to transport tanks and armored vehicles into Iraq and Afghanistan. Okay, and now we're seeing these planes going into Kaliningrad. This is the second time this week that one of these planes has flown to Kaliningrad, and more of these Ilyushin 76 planes going in as well. Three this morning, guys. I can't stress to you how concerning this is. I'm telling you, Russia is going to make an attack on the Baltics, potentially Poland. They have thousands of troops in Western Belarus and also probably 250,000 to 500,000 troops in Kaliningrad. They also have tactical nuclear weapons in Kaliningrad and Belarus that they could strike Poland or any of the Baltic countries with. Belarus has Iskander missiles now that are nuclear capable. They also have Russian hypersonic missiles for the Belarus fighter jets that they can launch from the Belarusian fighter jets. And those are nuclear capable as well. And so this is very, very concerning, guys. This is probably like the fourth day this week that I've seen all these Russian military cargo planes going to Kaliningrad. So something is going on over here, guys. And then just 2 days ago, there was a massive amount of surveillance and reconnaissance in Poland and the Baltic countries. So let me just show you guys what happened on November the 1st. Okay, we had another Antonov 124 on November the 1st, 3 days ago. Okay, heavy lift transport plane going to Kaliningrad. And then here we had an RC 135 rivet joint surveillance plane flying in Poland and also in the Baltics, and a Swedish reconnaissance plane. And then on Halloween night, we had this Forte 11 drone. Okay, this is an American intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance drone, and it flew all day and all night over northeastern Poland. And this was the first time that Forte 11 was ever deployed to Poland. Okay, normally the Forte 11 operates in the Black Sea. It keeps an eye on Crimea, but for this thing to be in Poland is extremely concerning, and it means that something's brewing in this area. Okay, and here was another Russian military cargo plane. Okay, and there were many other days. I didn't have a chance to pull all my flight paths to share with you. Otherwise, it would take me a long time to dig through everything. But here's just a small sample. Okay, so things are escalating, guys, in the Baltic region. And I think what's going to happen is I think Russia is going to make a surprise attack on Poland and the Baltics. And I think that's going to happen, unfortunately, as the war in the Middle East escalates. And I'm not saying this to you with any kind of pleasure by any means. Okay, I'm not trying to fearmonger anybody. I'm actually Polish. Okay, my parents are immigrants from Poland. I was born here in America, so this is not something, that I'm just making up for the purposes of clicks and views. Okay, this is something very personal for me, and if Poland does get attacked, it would definitely affect me very, very deeply. Okay, so this is not something I'm doing just to fearmonger, and I want to show you what's going on right now. Uh, so this is actually just an hour ago. We had a B-52 nuclear bomber that took off from Barksdale Air Force Base, which is home of Air Force Global Strike Command. That's where the Air Force manages the entire air leg of the nuclear triad. So that's the headquarters for the bombers, the nuclear bombers, which are the B-52s, B-2s, and B-1s. And that's also where they manage the Minuteman missiles from. Okay, so this is the headquarters. So when I say manage, it doesn't mean that they're actually, controlling the flights of the missiles and things like that, or the launch. It's just the headquarters. Okay, so B-52 took off from Barksdale, and it turned its transponder off somewhere over southern Indiana. Okay, so this is very, very strange. It just disappeared near Bicknell. Bicknell, Indiana is where it shut its transponder off. If anybody out there is watching me from Indiana, you may want to look to the skies. It looks like this B-52 might be going to Europe or somewhere overseas. Usually this is how they fly when they go overseas. They go like over southern Canada, Quebec area, and then they land in the UK, usually at Mildenhall. And we also have a nuke sniffer plane patrolling the coast of Algeria, which is really interesting. And I reported yesterday that the Algerian parliament voted to declare war on Israel. And that basically, if the president of Algeria would declare war on Israel, then the parliament would fully back him. So the Algerian parliament has basically declared war on Israel. And I find it interesting that just a day later, we have a nuke sniffer patrolling the coastline of Algeria. Okay. And these nuke sniffers are primarily used to detect radiation in the atmosphere after a nuclear test. But from what I understand, they can also be used to detect nuclear powered submarines. And you can see here, these green colors represent the altitude, and it was flying extremely low here. You can see it was only flying at 6,000 feet, 6,500 feet. Okay. So it was flying extremely low, and obviously it was probably looking for nuclear armed subs in this area. Okay. Right off the coast of Algeria. This is also the entrance to the Mediterranean Sea. So if any Russian nuclear powered subs or Chinese nuclear powered subs would enter the Mediterranean, they would come through this choke point here, okay, right through the Straits of Gibraltar. So this is pretty concerning, guys, okay? Something's going on over here off the coast of Algeria. You can see these zigzag patterns here that it's been flying. And then here we have the two Russian military cargo planes that flew in this morning. They're on their way back to Russia already. And this is live right now as of 12:49 p.m. Eastern Time. You can see we have an E-6 Mercury that just took off from Stratcom, and it's flying over the Ozarks right now. And you can see the nuke sniffer is heading back to Europe. And this is the completed flight path. You can see just zigzagging along the Algerian coastline. And then here we have one of the Russian military cargo planes coming back from Kaliningrad. So things are really escalating, guys. Okay. I want to just update you quickly on some things in Eastern Europe. So Zelensky denied media reports that Western partners are persuading Ukraine to negotiate. And he said, for us to sit down with Russia now, talk and give it something, this will not happen. And Belarus has summoned the Polish ambassador for what they call a border violation that occurred on November the 2nd. So things are still tense in Eastern Europe. I want to just turn your attention now to the Middle East. So according to Kurdish Telegram channels, the General Secretariat of the Iraqi Ministry of Defense, in secret documents, has ordered all Iraqi military units to prepare for a possible regional conflict. And the Secretary General of the Badr organization said that it is time for the United States to leave Iraq, and the axis of resistance operating in Iraq has threatened the entire U.S. Central Command. All right, so the Iraqi military is now on high alert, and we have some of these anti-American terrorist groups in Iraq threatening all U.S. military bases and telling the U.S. to leave Iraq. This is the Badr organization. I've never heard of them before. So not looking good there. Looks like more attacks on U.S. bases in Iraq and Syria are coming. And unfortunately, I think we will see some serious casualties. And I also think that the administration here in the U.S. is probably going to try to cover them up. We do know that at least a dozen U.S. troops were hospitalized with traumatic brain injury from some of the recent attacks that have occurred on the U.S. bases. And it's probably up to like 50 attacks already by now. So it makes you wonder, when are we going to do something? We're just going to sit back and let them, injure our boys and potentially kill them. Erdogan said the other day that Netanyahu is no longer someone we can talk to. We erased it and threw it away. So basically, he's saying that, that he erased any contact with Netanyahu and it's gone. And he's never going to talk with Netanyahu. Kind of reminds me of how Putin refused to talk to Zelensky. And that's basically the ultimate sign of disrespect when you're not willing to talk to someone, especially as a leader of a country. You're basically diminishing their status as a leader. And so that's very disrespectful for Erdogan to say that about Netanyahu. And this is just like lining up with the Bible, guys. Okay, the book of Ezekiel, chapter 38 and 39. You should read it if you haven't read it before. Okay, it talks about this alliance of Middle Eastern countries, along with Asian countries, North African countries, and Russia, and they all attack Israel in the end days. Okay, and Jesus Christ, God, prevents them from actually entering Israel and destroying Israel. He stops their army before they could even enter Israel. So I recommend everybody read that. But we have all these major military powers, going against Israel now. We have Turkey, Iran, Russia, China, North Korea. We have North African countries now joining in, Algeria. Okay, who else is next? I mean, everybody's turning against Israel. They're all supporting Hamas. They're all supporting what they call resistance axis, which are all these groups in the Middle East that are against Israel. So it's looking like it's lining right up with Bible prophecy. I'm not saying that the Ezekiel war is coming any day now, but it's lining up. The stage is being set for that. And U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken will visit Turkey on Monday. And the Pentagon has suspended a congressional delegation from traveling to Israel due to what they say is a deteriorating security situation. So looks like a congressional delegation here in the U.S. was going to go to Israel. And what we do know is that the House of Representatives 2 days ago, in the middle of the night, passed a resolution declaring that the U.S. will never accept a nuclear-armed Iran, and the U.S. will do whatever it takes to stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon or developing a nuclear program. And they also authorized allies of the U.S. to help the U.S. in preventing that from happening, preventing Iran from getting nuclear weapons. And it passed like 350 votes to 53, so almost unanimously. So we do know that it's basically soft declaration of war on Iran. Okay, it's not explicitly saying we're going to war with Iran, but it's basically like a covert declaration of war. It's basically putting it out there and basically preparing everybody for the possibility of that happening. And what you're looking at here is a document coming from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Turkey. Turkey has summoned the Israeli ambassador this morning for what Turkey is saying is attacks on civilians by Israel. So looks like the situation between Turkey and Israel on the diplomatic side is really deteriorating. We have the U.S. State Department tweeting another security alert for Lebanon. This was tweeted just today, okay, November the 4th. You can see right here, 10:13 a.m. They are reminding people to get out of Lebanon. So, this is very concerning, guys. They keep posting these security updates on their Twitter account telling people, leave Lebanon, leave Lebanon, leave Lebanon. That means something's going to happen in Lebanon, guys, okay? Either the U.S. is going to attack Lebanon because of Hezbollah, or they're just concerned about terrorism against U.S. citizens, but it's not a good sign, okay? Here we have some pictures of the U.S. aircraft carriers in the Eastern Mediterranean. Here's the Dwight Eisenhower and the Gerald Ford aircraft carriers side by side, along with some of their support ships. These are guided missile destroyers, guided missile cruisers, just a lot of warships come along with these aircraft carriers. It's not just the aircraft carrier itself. They also have attack subs that come with them as well. Okay. We have a picture here that was posted, I think, by the Houthi rebels showing a cruise missile of some kind. And so they're basically saying they're going to start using cruise missiles against Israel. We had more military cargo planes going to and from the Middle East. These are American military cargo planes operated by the U.S. Air Force overnight last night. Several C-17s going to and from Iraq, which is pretty interesting. I don't know if they're bringing in more equipment to Iraq, more weapons, more ammunition, more troops, maybe more combat vehicles. I mean, it's hard to say what's going on here, but a lot of C-17s going to and from Iraq the last couple of days. And just about a week ago, the bases in Iraq started to do live fire training, okay? So I'm sure the troops in Iraq are on high alert. Okay, they're ready for potential attacks. And I just hope that our administration doesn't tie their hands behind their back and tell them, oh, you're not allowed to defend yourself. You're supposed to just take the attacks and do nothing, which is what it seems like our administration is doing. They're just allowing these attacks to occur. I mean, it's been probably over 50 attacks. And what did they do? They hit like one oil depot. Okay, that was it. All right, this is ridiculous, guys. Okay, we should have some serious retaliation for this. And this is just another example of the Biden administration showing weakness to our enemies overseas, weakness to Putin in Ukraine, now weakness to these Middle Eastern aggressors. And they see it. They see that we're weak, and they're taking advantage of it. That's why this is all happening now while Biden is president. It didn't happen in previous administrations, but it's happening now because they know, they're not stupid. Here's more C-17s going to and from Iraq. So something's going on in Iraq. I hope I'm wrong about the current administration. I hope that they do retaliate, but it's their response so far has been very, very minimal, and they're trying to send their diplomats over to Israel to get Israel to give in a little bit more and have like humanitarian pauses and all this crap and give Hamas fuel. That's why Blinken went to Israel yesterday. He was trying to convince Netanyahu to give fuel to Gaza, which is stupid. Okay. Here we have some intelligence that was seized by the Israeli Defense Forces in their operation in Gaza. They seized a bunch of Hamas documents here. You can see some CDs and some other stuff. And then here's like a map that they were able to find. Okay, so the Israeli Defense Forces are gaining ground in Gaza. They're very successful with this operation so far, and I do expect as time goes on and the more successful they are, the more attacks are going to be coming from other directions towards Israel. So in Syria, the Islamic Resistance of Iraq released a letter of confession of an attack last night on a U.S. military base on the northeastern border with Iraq. And Israel has closed all communications with Russia after Moscow has allowed their airbase to be used by Iran to resupply Hezbollah. This is the Khmeimim airbase in Syria. So this is pretty concerning, guys. And I reported a few days ago that Iranian military cargo planes were seen landing in Syria at that Russian airbase. All right. So for those of you guys out there who think that Vladimir Putin is a Christian and he's, fighting against the New World Order, well, he's fighting against Israel now. And the Bible is clear that anybody that supports the enemies of Israel and goes against Israel is basically going against God himself, because the Jews are God's chosen people. Jesus Christ was a Jew, okay? Israel has put all of their F-35 squadrons on high alert for possible missions in Syria and Lebanon, and we had a major escalation at the Lebanon-Israel border yesterday. Hezbollah struck IDF targets with a Birkin missile, which has a 500 kilogram warhead. That's 1,000 pound warhead. And this is the first time that the Birkin missiles have ever been used in this war so far. The Birkin missile is some type of heavy artillery missile. I'm not sure, the details about it, but it's a heavy missile. And what's interesting is they used these missiles right after Nasrallah gave his speech, and they attacked an Israeli observation post with it. And so it seems like Hezbollah is continuing their preparations for an invasion by blinding Israel in the north, by attacking all those observation posts. They're basically trying to blind Israel before they go in on the ground. And in response to these launches by Hezbollah, Israel launched a massive airstrike soon after on Hezbollah bases, munition sites, and command centers in southern Lebanon. And I have footage of both of these accounts, Hezbollah launching the missiles at Israel and then Israel responding back with the airstrikes, but I cannot show them here. But I can tell you that they were massive airstrikes by Israel. Okay, the airstrikes were serious. And also the attack by Hezbollah was also massive. The explosion was massive. So it's continuing to escalate over there, guys. Okay. And this comes right after Nasrallah, in his speech yesterday morning, said that all options are on the table for Hezbollah. Okay. And they can take any option at any time. And Israel's chief of staff, Herzi Halevi, said that if Hezbollah drags us into combat, the IDF will use firepower that the world has never seen before. It's almost kind of like what Trump said a couple of years back. And Hezbollah's leader, Nasrallah, will be giving another speech on November 11th. And the Lebanese newspaper Al Jumhuriyah reported yesterday that the leader of Hezbollah visited Damascus less than 2 weeks ago and met with the president of Syria, Bashar al-Assad, as part of the coordination between the various parties in the pro-Iran camp and the examination of the options for dealing with Israel's war in Gaza in order to prepare for all the possibilities in the near future. So that's pretty concerning. And the report also claims that forces of the Shiite militias in Iraq recently arrived in Syria as part of the preparation for the possibility of opening a front in northern Israel near the Golan Heights. Okay, so we could see at least two fronts open up soon. We could see Hezbollah going in, and we can also see these militias going in and attacking also northern Israel near the Golan Heights. And apparently, 8 large United Arab Emirates cargo planes landed at Israel's Navatim military airport in the Negev desert in the past 2 weeks. And it's likely that this is military and security equipment that were sent to Israel within the framework of the joint defense agreement between Abu Dhabi and Tel Aviv. There's reports coming out now that Hamas is shooting civilians who are attempting to flee from Gaza. France is going to be sending a second helicopter carrier, the Dix Mood, and apparently there's already one off the coast of Gaza right now, but they're going to be sending another one. Okay, so this is like an aircraft carrier, but it's for helicopters. And the Pentagon said that they have been carrying out air sorties with unarmed drones over Gaza in support of efforts to recover prisoners in Gaza. I'm sure they're using it also for giving information to Israel for targets, airstrike targets. Honduras has recalled its ambassador from Israel. The head of the Hamas Politburo, Haniyeh, traveled to Iran a few days ago and met with the leader of Iran, the Ayatollah Khamenei. And in Syria, heavy battles are ongoing between U.S.-backed Syrian Democratic Forces and the Iranian IRGC-affiliated troops. And this is in the Deir ez-Zor region. So that's very interesting. It's almost like a little civil war going on over there. And apparently the Iranian IRGC militias have declared parts of the Deir ez-Zor region of Syria as exclusive military zones. So that's the latest information that I have, guys. I'm going to keep updating you. Last night, I did not post an update because I just needed to take a break. I've been going nonstop for almost a month now, 2 to 3 updates a day plus live streams. So I just had to take a break. But I will be updating you guys at least once a day, but usually 2 to 3 times a day. All right. So if you don't see me post anything at all for a whole day, then it means that something happened to my channel. But I usually post at least one video a day. Even if it's not an update video, if I post something else, it means that nothing happened to me, all right? But if you don't see me post anything at all for like over a day or two, it means something is wrong. But I'm going to be back later on this evening with a second update. I might have to do a third depending on how much news comes out. But just get prepared, guys. Things are continuing to escalate on all fronts, okay? More Russian military cargo planes going to Kaliningrad, more escalation in the Middle East, and who knows what's going to happen in Asia. So make sure you have your bug out bag set up. Make sure you have a self-defense tool. Carry it with you all the time. Be aware of your surroundings. Know where the exits are. Know where cover and concealment is. And also have a nuclear war survival plan, which should center around a fallout shelter. And other than that, I'll see you guys later. Take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.